Hi, I'm in East Oxford now, and this is another one-off video featuring something that I want to capture while it's still sunny. I'm at the junction of Morrell Avenue Divinity Road and Warneford Lane. The road in that direction becomes Old Road and goes to Shotover. That's the route that I walked without filming to do my last long countryside walk around Horsepath. Morrell Avenue itself goes down a hill and to St Clement's, and in front of me as I now stand is South Parks, which slopes diagonally downwards to St Clement's and Headington Hill. So that's orientation. Divinity Road is on a slope itself and joins Warneford Lane and Morrell Avenue with Cowley Road. So that's Divinity Road. And I thought I'd do it just because it's a surprisingly handsome road. It looks good in the sun. It seems to have a lot of gardens. And it's also got one botanical surprise at, I think it's 151 Divinity Road, that has been, it looks as though it's been successfully recuperated after a hard winter. So I want to show you that. I think this side of Divinity Road is probably better viewpoint. It's a shame Apple haven't yet started making smellophones, because I'm getting a wonderful aroma from some of the flowers round here. So this is always one of my first surprises when I come down Divinity Road, which is that perspective down and beyond South Oxford. One thing I don't like, by the way, is the golf club. There are a few footpaths across it, across the golf course, and you have to go way out of your way to get from one side to the other. I'd much rather see the space used for something that more people can join in, or that benefits Oxford nature more. This is the second surprise, because the post office or GPO or Royal Mail or whatever you want to call it doesn't normally allow coloured post boxes other than red.
Yeah, I want to start from the beginning.
Okay, that's fine.
Oh yeah!
Oh, we're going down the hill though, darling. Down the hill. Okay.
The very end. Yes, the very end.
What's going on here? What's going on here? is that to commemorate gold medal winners in the 2012 Summer Olympics and Paralympics, various postboxes around the UK, and also incidentally in the Isle of Man and Sark, one of the Channel Islands, were painted gold. And at first, I understand this was going to be a temporary measure, but it proved so popular that the colours were allowed to stay. And this particular postbox is to commemorate Lily van der Broecke, the gold medalist in mixed cox fours. And Lily was a resident, apparently, in Divinity Road, I don't know which house. And so a postbox here was chosen. It's also a nice quiet spot for it. So, assuming I'm right about Lily being a resident here, she's the only famous resident of Divinity Road I know about. The road is too new for it to have hosted one of the hero academics, scientists like Halley or Robert Boyle. And nowadays, science and most other academia is done increasingly in teams, so people aren't recognised in the same way. But no doubt there are researchers who live here and have lived here and who've contributed a lot to their subject. This is also, at the moment anyway, a quiet street. Part of that is because the whole of Oxford is quieter than normal this time in August. Always is. But I think there are traffic calming measures here too, which must help. What I'm doing here is just enjoying the fact that, although it seems to be a nationwide trend to turn one's gardens into concrete bases, Divinity Road appears to have resisted this, somewhat anyway. And this is the botanical surprise that I mentioned. I'm not sure what these are, but they look to me very much like banana plants, or some close relative. I'm talking about the broad-leaved things. There are also something that may be some sort of palm. And the reason I'm glad to see it is that I'd been noticing it for several years, and then I passed one spring day and there'd been a very harsh late frost, and all of the exotic plants here had been well, I could say damaged, but you know how non-frost hardy plants go sort of squishy and full of water in places that you don't want water. That had happened to them, and they were basically not going to recover. And for quite a time after, the garden was bare. So it looks as though the owner has replanted, which I'm really glad to see. And I hope we don't have another hard frost. So who needs Oxford Botanic Gardens when you've got 151 Divinity Road? More people should do this. In fact, one of the side roads in Cutterslow, North Oxford, has a fair number of palm trees, and I noticed that they've survived for quite a few years, though some of them were cut down in 2013. There's another, possibly a palm tree. I think it's too tall to be a yucca. So what I like is just all the greenery and the sensation of descending this hill and sort of sinking greater into the depths implied by the view in the background. And there is that view again, complemented by the mosque, which I think belongs to the Asian Cultural Centre in Mansell Way. Little flowers. There's the mosque again. Michaelmas daisies. Now, from here on, although it's still reasonably green, I start to find the road a bit of a disappointment. Not so many trees, not so many well-grown trees, and maybe also a straight road flanked with gardens is just not such as nice a view as a windy and narrower road flanked with gardens. We'll walk down to the bottom and then go back up so that we can see from both directions. At the moment I'm facing the sun. When I come the other way, it'll be behind me. It's nice that the council haven't cut those down, and I hope they don't. Co-op community notices. There's always a notice for a music club or two here. This time at a pub that used to be called the Cape of Good Hope. Cape. I had an elderly relative once who used to talk disparagingly about chai wallahs. I think the term meant tea boy, so possibly wallah is one of the Indian languages for man. But because of that, I always find that sign derogatory, patronising. Presumably it's not meant to be. Okay, so this is Cowley Road going towards Oxford. That's Mansell Park over on the right, and the Moss and Asian Cultural Centre are set back within it. And that's Cowley Road going east. That's Cowley Road going west towards the city centre. Right, so let me finish by going back up Divinity Road with the sun now in the other direction. Honeysuckle, and that stuff just smells superb. I don't know why you can't make food out of honeysuckle, because it would taste absolutely wonderful. It does occur to me, actually, that we have a very limited selection of foods. For example, how is it that the only berries I can buy are blackberries, raspberries, strawberries, and grapes, which I don't think are technically berries anyway? Surely there must be more than that.
take me.
Fuchsia. I do wish nature would show a bit more exuberance in this country. Actually, why can't we have orchids like Cypripedium, for example, the lady's slipper, growing outside? And the same applies to birds. All the birds we've got are small, brown and round. And it would be nice to have something like a toucan or a bird of paradise. or a jewel-like hummingbird, pollinating the orchids perhaps. And plants that can look interesting without getting themselves mashed to pieces at the first frost, or mashed to pulp. There's 151 Divinity Road again. There is one other thing I'll mention about Divinity Road before I finish. And that's that, according to Wikipedia, there is a story, a book, a novel, by Michael Amos called The Rocktastic Corduroy Peach, which is the first book in the Corduroy Peach trilogy and was published in 2007. It is apparently superficially about music and amateur bands and the horrible ways artists go about their business. But at root, at least one reviewer says, it's about the yawning gap between our dreams and our realities. Sorry, comfortable in the writing and a heartening story. I eagerly await the next two, finished, one of the reviewers. And I mention it because it has the names of lots of Oxford streets in it, and Wikipedia said that Divinity Road is also mentioned. However, I skimmed the entire book and I wasn't able to find it, although I did find references to places on and off Cowley Road, such as various clubs. It looks a fun read anyway, and I think I'd agree with the reviewer that it's comfortable in the reading or comfortable in the writing. In his afterword, the author says, "If you think the male characters in this book are unrealistically melodramatic and camp, you should spend some time with indie rockers." Okay, well that's Divinity Road. I think I prefer it going down rather than up. I'll see you next time.